I trade spot and futures on BYDFi, and if you want to set up an account now, send me a message once you've created your account with your username and UID on Telegram, and I'll put you into a randomly selected prize draw. I've got $10, $20 and $50 gift cards to give out, which basically go against your trading fees, giving you free trading fees basically until the gift cards run out. BYDFi. Hello everybody, welcome back. A bit of a late start today, so let's get straight in on it then, shall we? So, interesting Bitcoin scenario. Yesterday we were talking about how if these areas were closed below this 21 exponential, we saw a closure below here, like we saw a closure below the 20 simple for the first time in a while. It could spell 38,000, right? So we looked at this yesterday. So okay, we surfed the 10 exponential for the most part. We do dip, and we have dipped, and sort of ricocheted on that 21. For the most part, the 20 simple moving average has been closed above. There was one occasion around here on 21st of November where we did close below it, but then bounced on the 21. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Really, pretty much exactly what happened yesterday. We did have a wick below the 21 exponential, but we closed above it. So, you know, it's so far created a very attractive looking candle, a bullish engulfing candle, which has now got continuation above all major moving averages, which suggests actually all is okay. All is okay. So what we really need to think about now is, can we break this $44,000 zone, which is, as it would look currently like does look like it's heading that way. Let's have a look over here at Ethereum, which is not quite the same, but similar. So yesterday, again, the wick took us down below the 2,145, this super resistance. We wicked down below it, but then we've bounced from it, and then today, or yesterday, closed above the 21, and more or less bouncing on that 21. It's weaker. It's definitely weaker. This is still very much in a consolidation trend line and a descending triangle formation. Still early days, and so if you were to see a breakout of this, you know, over the next, well, basically over the next week or more, most likely you're going to see continuation back up to its previous highs and then new local highs, really. So all of that looks pretty sweet, I have to say. So lucky. No trades were made yesterday. As I said, it was really, if anything, I'll watch and wait to see which way we go, because if we can avoid breaking down, then we can start to negotiate on other charts for particularly altcoins and other things to trade them more appropriately. If we were to break down, then it would be looking for a dip buy around these areas, but for the moment it's not, and it does look like a breakout, really, which is basically what it is. It is a breakout, to be fair. That 10 exponential sitting around 42,441, that's your support on today. Let's take it to a 4 hourly then, just to see that kind of vibe. So above all moving averages, which is great, and obviously you can see the breakout, which is fine. Crossing up above the 0 point, so gathering up more momentum on this one, it would appear, probably for the rest of the day, probably leading into the week. We don't have any kind of pump or trend signal generated on this itchy cloud, not yet. We're waiting for this this portion to go green. That's the last thing we'll be looking for. We're above the cloud, we've got the cross below the cloud, which is fine. Chiku span is creeping out of the cloud, so we are just waiting for a green portion of the Ichimoku cloud to give us that pump signal. And the pump signal is almost certainly going to take us to 44, but it should take us a little higher. Remember, this is a big sell wall here, so if it does break and start to move on beyond here, especially if we get candle body closures on a 4 hourly above 44,000, then we should be looking for continuation. And then the holy grail is that $48,000 zone. 48,500-ish area, give or take. That is the destination here, and the destination which could mark the end of it, really, because what we'll be seeing at that point is almost certainly would be a peak, an uncomfortable peak towards 95 on the money flow index, or even worse, a one drive of bearish divergence on the weekly, which again, both of those suggest downside. So the closer we get to that level, absolute caution should be, that is it really for me. And that doesn't mean I'm just going to pack up and hibernate, put myself into cryogenic status and wait for a consolidation to finish. There'll be some serious bounces along the way, and there could even still be an alt season. Absolutely, there could. But a rejection from this level is very, very likely, whether it's down to 38, maybe down into the lower 30s, maybe 31 to 32. All of those areas still suggesting the continuation of an uptrend anyway on this weekly when it comes to Itchy Cloud. But yeah, significant pullback or consolidation, whether it happens quickly, push, or it takes place over a period of months, it's very likely. So I would limit positions. I will limit positions on pretty much anything outside of the hodl bags. Not completely all out, but at least 50% of my more recent spot positions will be taken out around this level, and I'll be looking to buy back for bounces. Whether it's a dead cat bounce or alt season or whatever. I won't be particularly interested in trading Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is like the overall indicator of which direction the market wants to go. Although we do have the theory, which is again more than a theory, it's kind of reality, that we can consolidate on Bitcoin as far as price action is concerned and still continue on with altcoins. The Bitcoin dominance chart looks pretty good though, I have to say. So a major resistance would be up here around 57 towards 58. That you would see that in the form of an uptrend or a downtrend. It doesn't really matter. It's price neutral really. This chart. This is just an indicator of where who's going to outperform. And at the moment, it does point in the direction of Bitcoin outperforming anyway, or at least Bitcoin not losing as much, which again is that is still outperforming. The only other thing that we should be thinking about would be this bad boy over here, the total 2. This is altcoins excluding Ethereum. Now, we don't have any pump signals or anything like this, but what we do see is a trend signal on a weekly, which is interesting. We've had this for a little while now, and this trend signal will still be in play provided this GQ span doesn't close in the weekly price action, which is all the way back down here at 569 billion, or we get a blue across the red. So there is actually a trend signal on the total 2, which is interesting, which makes it feel like alt seasons are still possible even if Bitcoin consolidates. Now, like I say, it has happened in the past. It might be happening now. We don't particularly know for sure until we start to see continuation. But if you were to just look at this chart on its own, this total 2 chart, and you had no other chart to trade, you would look at this as a major breakout, just like you'd be looking at Ethereum as a major breakout, and you'd be looking for this area up here as a major target. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go straight up here today. I'm not saying we're going to consolidate down to here today, or that this formation and breakout is legitimate or anything like that. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying if this was the only chart you had to trade, you would actually look at this and go, I would expect it to go up. It's more likely to go up. We've got golden crosses, we've got weekly trend signals, we've got all the good stuff. We've got a breakout of a major, what would look like an accumulation zone, with a target which is about 20% higher than where we are right now. So it does look good. It does bode well for altcoins, and that is the truth. But we know that there's other things that go on behind this chart. One of them is obviously going to be Bitcoin, and others can be things like the Dixie, for instance, and whatnot. So looking at one chart on its own and putting all your eggs in one basket as a result of that one chart is kind of crazy. But if we were to take all those other charts away and just look at this one on its own, the odds are in favour of further upside to the tune of about 20%, which means that, in theory, all altcoins should benefit from a chart like this, because this represents all altcoins, full stop. So Bitcoin looks sweet. Altcoins are still lagging, but even though they are lagging, they point to further upside. All is not lost, but caution, like we've been saying for weeks now, it should be at the forefront of your mind as Bitcoin approaches that $48,000 zone. Right, if you want to join me on the live stream, we'll be looking at all the altcoins that you want me to look at tonight. We do it Fridays, Tuesdays. So if you want to join the Patreon live stream, links in the description below. Other than that, though, I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.